What's good, bag chasers? So this one gonna be a little different today, y'all. We actually out in the field, and I'm about to link up with my mentor, Derek Boone, one of Philly's top real estate investors, so we can see how he takes his real estate investments from ground zero and turns them into income producing assets. I know primarily I focus on business credit, funding, how to turn that into multiple streams of income, but now it's time to turn that capital into real estate. And for real, there's nobody better to learn that from than my guy, Boone. So we just pulled up, y'all. Boone told me this one is mid-renovation. I ain't gonna hold you, when I first came in here, this joint was completely gutted, nothing. And as y'all can see, I already got the framing up. Pretty much, like I said, he right in the middle of the project. So we're gonna tap in with him, holler at him about what's going on and how we making progress. Definitely excited to see how he gonna bring this one back to life. So like, bro, you already know when I came in this joint, like we wasn't even in a full like gut mode yet. So what would you say, like what stage of the process we in now?
What I would say in this project, we at the mark right before it's about to be a blitz season. So I call this the halfway mark. So when you came here, we was halfway done demo. We wasn't even fully done demo, we was halfway done demo. So now the whole house demo, the whole wall chipped. And I'll explain why we do the exposed brick. They doing electric right now, so all the wires getting put upstairs. In about like an hour or two, they're gonna come downstairs and do the wires downstairs. We got the HVAC ran. You see the plumbing right here. This for the half bathroom. And the kitchen is in there, so all the plumbing is done in there. The HVAC ran downstairs, so once he's done electric in about 2-3 days max, then we're gonna come in here and gonna put the insulation in and the sheetrock. So next week, you come in next week, whole crib gonna be sheetrock. Once the sheetrock is in, that's when I like to call that. It's like that. You get to that top of the hill, and then right down there is just when you doing the slide on the way down.
Yep.
Right now we just go uphill, getting all the mechanicals done, getting all the demo on, all the framing done, popping all the windows, fixing all the joists. The joists were so messed up, and then now we about to just slide down because once that sheetrock going, then boom, floors, doors, trim, tile, all the cute stuff. So that's about 2 weeks of that process. So how the sheetrock go, sheetrock, especially because it's cold now, is gonna take some time to dry. So they're gonna take a day putting the sheetrock up. But spackling it, letting it dry, then sanding it is about a couple days, especially because it's cold right now. So it's gonna be about 5, let's say we start sheetrock on Tuesday. They're gonna knock that out Tuesday. Wednesday, they're gonna come and spackle. So Wednesday to probably like Monday is just letting it dry and sanding it.
Yep.
Then that next Monday, that's when we gonna boom floors, boom doors. And that's gonna be about like 7 days. Tile, that's gonna be about like 7 days of that. So in about 2 weeks, let's say 20 days max, this whole thing should be done. And then we can just blitz it out.
So how long you think like all together, like a project usually take all together like this?
So I'm gonna break down this math, and then I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna explain what a realistic thing takes. So I bought this house September 30th. So it's September 20, it's October 24th now. So we coming up next week in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In 6 days, we're gonna come up on a 30-day mark. If I just said in about 20 days, we'll be done. So that's November 13th. Let's just say finish out the weekend by November 17th, it's gonna be done. So if you say, what is that, 45 days?
About 45 days?
About 46, 47 days of work. So this is
ain't
typically
bad.
Projects like this, these 3-bed, 1.5 bath houses, 1,000 square feet, like 1,000 to 1,200 square feet. They take me about 45 days to do, 60 days max, but about 45 to 60 days to go ahead and knock out on a project that's a little bit bigger than this. Maybe like 2,000 square feet, it might go into the 3-month mark, but it's just like 1 extra month. And the only reason that because we got more framing to do, we got more floors to lay. It's just more for the guys to go ahead and do versus this. You see from the front to the back, it ain't but so much. But that's the only difference. Then when we do the multifamily properties, that's when it's gonna start at 3 months. Like we could do a multifamily property if it's a small, like a duplex, like it's just a bedroom downstairs, a bedroom upstairs. We can knock that out in like 2 months, but that's when we blitzing and we really, but like let's just say 3 months, multifamily property like a 3 months, because the only reason is the tradesmen got to do more. It's not necessarily the carpentry, it's not necessarily the floor, it's not necessarily sheetrock. It's more so, okay, they gotta run HVAC for 2 units.
Yep. So it's like double.
They gotta run electrical work for 2 units.
That makes sense.
They gotta run plumbing for 2 units. So the mechanicals just take a little bit longer, which gives us an extra, 2, 3, 4 weeks of time getting all that stuff situated. So that's pretty much the case. We just got the steps popped in. Literally, they just put these in. You see the other ones. They just got dropped off an hour before you got here.
That's crazy.
These are steps for the basement. These are steps for upstairs. But
and you widened it up too, Paul.
Yeah, you gotta make them 3 feet 36 inches. 36 inches. So
I noticed that as soon as I walked in.
Yeah. So you gotta cross-reference the price. You can have the guys build the steps in the house, but if they build the steps in the house, sometimes the cost of them to buy the material and do it is kind of like more expensive or the same if somebody just build them and they can drop them off.
Yep.
So for example, these steps for the steps going in the basement, steps going to the second floor cost me, just say $1,000. It was like $980, $1,000 flat. So if I would have went ahead and bought the material, had them build it, that's more time for them to be working on this. They would have been working on this versus other things. So they was able to go do other stuff while I had somebody else build this stuff up. So just little things like that, like sometimes not even just about the money, but the time.
Yep.
Time is money. So while they was, instead of building out the steps, they was doing some other little things. They sanded out the wall, you guys can see. When you chip the brick off the wall, it's ashy, it's a little plaster residue. So they gotta get the sander and you can see all on the floor the residue. They gotta sand the brick from here all the way upstairs, and I'll show you guys upstairs. And then they gotta put in new cement, point the brick to cover in all the holes. And then this weekend, I'm having my guy. One of the things I like to do is have my young boy, some of my little cousins, the little homies, come in. They seal the brick, so it's like this milk-looking paint, and they paint on here, and that literally puts a glaze. So now if I do this,
nice.
I got brick dust on my. But when I do it there, you're not gonna have nothing. So it's clean. It seals the brick and locks everything in. So that's not rocket science. I like to have people that I could pay them $100, $200, $300, $400, $500 to do that. Like, for example, I got little cousins that's going to come in this weekend, just sweep everything and clean everything up. So just little things like that to spread the money around inside the circle, but it's not, I'm asking them to do some scientific jobs. Like, bro, I just need you to paint the brick. But it's funny because my little cousin that I had him do this years ago on my first house, why this inspired him to go to trade school, he went and got his license in cement or masonry, and now he got a full-time job doing masonry work.
That's crazy. So you really put him on for real.
He was a YN. And it inspired him to actually do this full time. So now it's dope just, putting that together. So I'm gonna show you the upstairs real quick. One of the things we do to save some money, we, instead of leaving this wide open, we just put a wall right here, and then we're gonna have like a little leveler, little piece, half wall. That way we don't have to buy this iron railing all the way up.
Yep.
Save a little bit of money. Like I said, it's a rental. So it's gonna be one of the nicest rentals y'all ever seen, but it's still nothing compared to like it was a flip project. And then what we do is to save money as well. We're gonna do a half wall right here instead of a railing. So the railing, which would have cost me a couple $1,000, now I don't have to buy because we're gonna do natural sheetrock and natural wall. I'm gonna have to put a railing out front because there's nothing out front, so that just is what it is. But as far as inside, we're gonna save a lot of money. They're gonna frame this up right here. And this is gonna be a little linen closet. And we go right here, this is the master bedroom. So when you open this up, the door is gonna be right here. Then this is our bedroom. You see the exposed brick. TV go right here, and they got the large closet right here. Nice high ceilings. Everything is smooth on that. The one thing I wanted to make sure I pointed out, the reason why we do the exposed brick is because now we get to save money and it's a nice aesthetic.
Yep.
I found out years ago when I first started doing this is on the exposed brick, people looked at it and they felt like it was in the loft. But now think about this, it don't cost nothing more for the demo guys to rip the plaster off. Cause they got the gun, it comes right off. Whole chunk pieces just fall off. But then on top of that, right, I don't have to buy framing for this whole wall. I don't have to buy sheetrock for this whole wall. I don't have to buy paint for this whole wall. And now this is just that little sealer that I had to put in. So now I save a lot of money by not actually paying for all those extra materials. The worst thing I had to pay for is having my little cousin seal up the brick, which is nothing.
Light work.
Yeah, it's super light work. So then that's how we go and do that. This is the master bedroom. Like I said, this is gonna be a linen closet. This is the middle bedroom in here. You walk in here, door swings open right here. You got the closet right here and all this bed space. So they got a nice size closet, and then you got the room for the space. They got a window. Bedroom should have a window, and it should have a closet. And then they're gonna have, each bedroom has their own little TV outlet. So they put a TV outlet on the wall. They don't have to worry about having cords hanging. They have a, which he needs to actually move this in center right here. So now the TV is gonna be up here, and all the wires and cords can hide behind the TV.
Man, that's a gem right there. And that was crazy game. Like, to the basic, like, what's the first thing that you look for, like, when, like, originally walking a property?
The first thing I look for off rip is,
like, to know if it's a good buy, if it's something that you're gonna mess with.
All right, so I'm gonna say 3 things. First thing I look at off rip is the neighbors. Cause I don't wanna buy a house where the neighbors on both sides is like a freaking giraffe standing out front. Cause ain't nobody gonna move. Everybody don't wanna move next to certain things.
Right.
So first thing I look at is a block. Before I get out the car, all right, this block is cool, boom. Then second thing I look at the foundation. Is the front wall bowing out, which means like the brick eventually starts doing this, like bowing. I've tore down front walls before. That ain't cheap. It's thousands of dollars to tear it down and re-brick it back up. So if I see that the wall is bowing, and even if you ever seen stars on the front of houses, that's when it's like almost there, but they put the star bolts in to lock it in before it gets real bad. But at some point, it's where it's like the star bolts ain't gonna save it. The wall gotta come down. First thing I look at is the foundation. Okay, is this cool? If the foundation's cool, then I can go inside. The next thing I do when I go inside, I go straight into the basement. Look at the mechanicals, look at the foundation downstairs, look at, and look at the plumbing. Because in Philadelphia, we have, regular sewer and we got private sewer line. The private sewer line runs into the back of the house. The regular public goes to the front. So if you go in the basement and you see the sewer line, the basic main plumbing going out to the back of the house, that means it's private. That's a problem because you got to dig that up and change that. And that got nothing to do with the city.
Oh no, that's a jump.
So that's something you want to check as well. So I go in the basement because you got to think about it. The walls, the doors, all that stuff is cosmetic. That ain't really that expensive, but the mechanical, the plumbing, and the heating, and the electrical, all that stuff is the stuff that costs thousands of dollars. Like this electrical job, $9,000. You know what I'm saying? The plumbing, the HVAC job, $10,000. The plumbing job, a couple $1,000s. And then one little hack I would give you is if you have contractors that are really good at other trades, ask them what they else is good at. My guy that does the framing, he also does plumbing. And the way he learned how to do plumbing is because he worked with the city. So he worked with the city, and the city basically had him renovating, turning bathrooms into handicap bathrooms. So he ended up learning plumbing that way. So now when I have him do the framing, I'm like, yo, just knock the plumbing out too. So when he knocks the plumbing out too, like for the plumbing, he might have charged me like $2-3 grand for the plumbing. I just got to buy the material, and he charged me $2,000 for the plumbing. So now a plumber the master plumber may charge me $8,000, $10,000. I'm getting it done for $2,000 plus maybe $1,500 of material.
Right, because y'all already
I'm
tapped
getting $3,500 material and labor, everything, because I'm just adding this to what he already is doing.
Yep.
And to him, because he's not claiming himself as a master plumber, but he knows just as much as a master plumber.
Yep.
You gotta be mindful of that, because just because they say they can do it, don't mean they can do it. But I gave him a small little job. Before we got to this point where he's doing a plumbing for the house, I gave him little small jobs to test to see if everything was legit. And then when it was legit, I said, okay, I can give you bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and things like that. So just keep that little stuff in mind. But the biggest thing is check the block, because you can turn a house beautiful, and then when you move a tenant or try to rent it out or try to sell it, nobody want it because the block is the block out of hell. Yep. The second thing is check the foundation. The third thing is go in that basement, check the mechanicals, see how everything's set up, because all the walls, that is nothing. But like I said, these $10,000, $8,000 for these mechanicals is expensive. And my biggest thing is, I would say, go in every house as if you got to gut it already, and put your budget together as if you got to gut it already. Because you may think you don't got to gut something, and then come to find out, you start opening up some walls and you realize you do actually got to gut it, and now you $40,000 under budget.
Fact.
So when you rehabbing properties, unless it's a property that's pretty much like already rented, and you just painting it, putting a new tenant in, if it's even halfway messed up, just go into it thinking you got to do the whole thing over. Because I'm telling you, I made sure my budget represented if I'm gutting it, but I didn't plan on gutting it. We start opening up this back wall. I just said, you know what, we got to just finish gutting it. 'Cause remember, you came in, this wasn't even the plan.
Yeah, nah, no cap. The bathroom, you definitely added a few extra joints.
Yeah.
And I ain't gonna hold you. I'm gonna let you run around a little bit, but you took us right to what I wanted to talk about too, is talk a little bit about how you figure out that budget too. So, we're gonna walk around a little bit. We got the contractors in there, see what's going on, but I definitely wanna get some gems for the chat on how you do the budget too.
At least that first day when the guys come to the project, make sure you go there and go through the layout with them. Another thing that delays projects is when y'all gotta backtrack. Like I'm just saying with the electrician, he had the, like for example, I'm gonna show you something. So we put a TV wall in the rooms. He had a TV wall right here. And I'm like, no, the bed gonna go right here. Move the TV wall over here. So that way they got the TV across from the bed. You see what I'm saying? But if I would've came in here later in the row, he already ran the wires. It would have been like, he would have had to do it, but it would have been like, yo, now I gotta redo all the wires over. So it's one of them things where you wanna get on this stuff a lot earlier and at least come on that first day to do the layout.
Yep.
So that way everything is pretty much set and locked in. And then now what's gonna happen when, once the inside is done, now we're gonna start hitting the front and the back. I don't wanna make too much attention outside. You know what I mean? Where people figuring out, oh, what's going on? They working in the house. So now we keep the door closed. Everything is going on inside. Only people that know is like the neighbors and stuff like that.
Right.
But if somebody drove past, you wouldn't know that we was working in the house because we kept the outside looking like how it's been. So now when somebody finally see us doing working outside, the inside done. Floors down, cabinets down.
Oh, it's like the front of the house. That's like the last thing you do.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
You don't have to do it like that, but I do it like that because I'm trying to stay under the radar.
Yep.
I don't want to draw too much attention to myself if it ain't need be. You see what I'm saying? And the other thing is keep your job site clean. So you see, we needed some of this wood because we just popped in the steps and then we just finished doing a brick. So now my guys coming in, my little cousin coming in, he gonna sweep this whole thing, get all the trash, put it out back and make this joint clean. So that electrician keep doing this thing all smooth and then we can you wanna make it clean for every next trade because how they get it is how they gonna deliver it. So you give them the trade all sloppy, they're gonna leave it sloppy. But if you give it to them clean, they're gonna know I need to sweep up because I didn't get it like this.
Yep.
So I got a couple joists downstairs. I got a couple 2x10s. I think I got a couple 2x16s. And then we're gonna take all of this stuff to the next house. Another thing is save every bit of material. The last house I did out Jersey, we ordered too many baseboards and quarter round. Well, we got enough baseboards and quarter round to do the whole first floor now.
And you use that from
the
for
last
this one?
house. Yeah, I'm gonna use the stuff from that last house and bring it here. So now I only gotta buy baseboards and quarter round for the second floor because the whole first floor, I got enough from the last crib.
Yeah, that's a good job.
And then I got backsplash tile left over from the house before. So I had bought extra because it was on sale. So when you see things on sale, just buy it. So now I got enough tile left over to do the whole backsplash in the kitchen. So I don't have to buy a new tile for this crib.
Nah,
I don't have to buy a new backsplash kitchen tile for this crib. What I would have to do is buy a tile, for the bathroom and stuff like that. But, that's nothing.
Nah, that's a good joint because I ain't gonna hold you. Like, even in like my small like renovations, I feel like when I be buying the material, like I think I had like too much vinyl and I just like throw it out. So,
oh, you tripping?
Yeah, I'm tripping.
You know you can take that shit back.
I think my contractor had told me that one time.
You can take that back. Yeah, even if it's one box, you can take it back. That might be $50, $30.
Yeah, I think like I had extra vinyl. I had like some extra quarter round, and I think I just
you can
left
take
it
all that
outside.
shit back.
Let that shit get rained on.
Yeah,
I be tripping, bro. That's my. But
bro, I got enough shit to do the whole first floor.
Yeah, so when I heard you say that, I'm like, damn. Like I'm just thinking about like, it's literally like out in my garage. I'm like, the paint, all that.
Let me ask you this: is $5,000 a lot of money when it comes to a project? $5,000 a lot of money?
I think so.
Hell yeah. So think about this. I might got $500 worth of quarter round and stuff like that downstairs. Then I got another $200-$300 in backsplash.
Yep.
We had $800 already.
That's a stack already.
You know what I'm saying? $800,000 already. And then think about this. I got a couple $100 left for 2x4 that's going to the next house.
Yep.
If I need $4,000 worth of lumber, $5,000 worth of lumber, now I only need like $4,300 worth of lumber or $4,000 worth of lumber. So you think about it, that's $1,000, then $1,000. I'm at $2,000 right now, and that's not even adding in all the other little things that I got floating around. Next you know, you got $5,000. Let's put this in perspective. HVAC job is $10,000, so basically I got the HVAC 50% off.
Yeah, I
you start putting it in that perspective.
That's where
the plumbing was about $3,500, so that means I got the plumbing for free.
Yep. Yeah, I feel like that's something I gotta get better at, is just like understanding the financials and really like taking every little dollar in account. Like when I be hearing you, I'm like, nah, bro, be on every dollar, bro.
So I ain't gonna make it like it's perfect. Some shit fall through the crack, but doing the big shit ain't nothing. I'm gonna show you something real quick. This is a budget. So you see on a budget, it's a demo 4,000, trash management 1,000, roofing 4,000, doors and window 2,000, electric. That's the rough electric 3,000, the final electric 1,000. I messed up on that because we had the.
Oh, you got every line item.
Every line item, and we're at the end of it, it adds up to 64,500. So this project is really gonna cost me probably like 71,000. But remember, I told you I didn't plan to do a full gut in here.
Yeah.
But I still ran my numbers as if.
You was.
So I really thought I was gonna be $40,000 in this job. But I still ran it a little higher just in case.
Yep.
But now instead of, imagine if I would have ran this number at my 30,000 I thought I was gonna be in.
Yeah, that's damn double.
I would have been damn near $40,000 short that would have to come out of my pocket, not the lender's pocket.
Yep.
But because I still let me still run this to the max. Now I'm only short about $5,000. Which I'm gonna show you something. You see French drain system, 5,000. I'm just not doing that no more. So I'm just taking that to make up for some other stuff. French drain is just waterproofing in the basement.
Got you.
So I don't really that's not a necessity.
So you can kind of move it around.
Yeah, so I don't have to do that. I just it's like a precautionary. It's like, it might not never flood in here. Who knows?
Right.
But I had one flood situation, so I just been on some.
Yeah.
I don't ever want to deal with that again.
Preparing for it.
But on the same token, I'm not finishing the basement, so even if it do flood.
Right.
I had a flood in the basement, I finished.
Yeah, nah,
so I've been scarred ever since.
Yeah, for sure.
I've been super scarred ever since.
No,
so
I mean, now that you even show like the line items, so like I wanted to ask, like when you buy a property like this, how you estimate rehab costs like that?
You do three things. You bring a contractor in, and a contractor come in there, and then they go ahead and tell you how much things gonna cost. You do a price per square foot model. So for example, 1,000 square foot house in Philly, like a row house, it may cost you, $70 to $80 a square foot. So if I just told you that this house gonna cost me, what I said, I was short $5,000, so that's 71,000. This is 950,000 square feet. Let's just say 1,000 square feet. 70,000. You see, I'm right on point. And then that worst case scenario might be 80,000. You see, I'm right on point.
That's crazy.
And the reason it might be 80, I'm getting these things at better numbers. So if I went with like regular contractors that ain't give me no deals for repeat business, I would have been at the 80, 82, 83,000. So you see, like that math hit right on the money. So that's the second way. The third way is that you start piecing it together. So I'm gonna call a contractor and ask him, how much is it gonna cost for plumbing? He give me a number. How much is it gonna cost for HVAC? He give me a number. How much is it gonna cost for this and this and this? And I start adding it up myself to get my total number. So you can have one contractor to give you a GC. Give me 60, I knock it out.
Yep.
Or you piece it together yourself, or you do that price per square foot and just be like, you know what? $70, $80. I recommend $80 a square foot. So then if you were to put a budget together for $80,000 for this, you'd be on
right there.
If you was off, you would have been off by like $2-3 grand,
right?
If that. But you would have been pretty much safe.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? So
I like that.
Or even you want to play it even safer, do $90 a square foot. But you'll be safe. You shouldn't be under. And the other thing too is when you work with banks, a bank is going to give you 70% of whatever the house is worth. So if the house is worth $200,000, a bank will say, we're willing to lend you 70% of that, $140,000. So this is where people mess up. Let's say, for example, you buying a house for $60,000, 140 minus 60,000. You got 80,000. You bought it for 60,000, so you got $80,000 left over to fix it up. What people may do is they may say, well, I only need 50,000 to fix it up. So you got 30,000 left over that the lender is willing to give you. Somebody, a dummy, will say, you know what, lender, only give me 50. I don't need the 30 because I only need 50,000. Take what they're giving you.
Facts.
Because you don't have to spend it. What they do is they put the 80,000 in an escrow account, a reserve account. So you only pull from that as you need in it. So if the money's sitting in an account, just take all of it. I don't have to use it, but at least I have it sitting. You get what I'm saying?
Fact.
That's like somebody saying like, yo, I want to give you want to lie, I want to give you $1 million. You say, yo, listen, I only need 600.
Yeah, that's
no,
crazy.
Take the million. Like, you big dummy. If you don't use it, keep it in the bank.
Yep.
So when a lender, what a lot of people mess up is they'll only take what they think they need. And it's like, yo, they're giving you Or like, even a better example, you go to the bank, this is your field, you go to the bank, and the bank said, you go to the bank and you apply for a $10,000 credit card. The bank said, hey, we willing to give you a $20,000 line of credit. You don't say no. You don't say no. You're going to be like, oh, no, I only need $10,000. I'm not going to take it. You're going to be like, you know what, yo, give me the $20,000. If I don't use it, it's cool. It's sitting there, but at least I have it.
I got access to it.
That's what people mess up at. They don't take what they get access to, and that's what they mess up. So what they about to do is they about to put the paper down on the steps because, you know, this is brand new wood. You don't want to mess up the steps for all the people walking in and out. So they about to take the steps down, put the carpenter paper on, and then also they got bolts. So they put the steps in just now, but they want to bolt it to the brick.
Right.
Right now it's sturdy. Like ain't nothing gonna happen, but we think long term. We gonna bolt it to the step because after a while, people stepping. And another thing too, I'll show you when we go downstairs, is we put joist hangers. Joist hangers, so even though we nail the joists in, we put hangers so it's extra support. Because after a time, nails start bending, things start bending. So when you see floors that start dipping, it's because they don't got the joist hangers in. They don't got the extra support. So we quadruple nail it in, and we put in the joist hangers. We doing the most to make sure everything is sturdy and this lasts for the long term, because we want to do our house right the first time, and we don't never want it to come back again.
Facts.
The house is that I had to come back and do it come back for little nits and bits. Is the house I lifted, because I ain't do it right the first time. So just do this shit right the first time. Unless it's a house where, like I said, the tenant already in there, you just buying it because the person just want to get rid of it. Like I bought a house like that where I just got to repaint. But if it's a house you got to gut, just gut it. Like a full reno, you got to just gut it, do it right. Think about it like this. This wire is brand new. It's fresh out the plastic. It should be no reason anybody on the planet Earth should be in this house talking about something, yo, I need a new electrical work. Mm-hmm. The tenant should never say that. These pipes, brand new pipes. So if you come in and clog the toilet, you can't say it been like that. No. You was stuffing stuff down the toilet. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to the HVAC, yo, the heat not working. This heater is new. There's no way in hell the heater not working. You in there doing something, your son stuffed something in there, like something happened, but everything in this joint is new. So you want to make sure things like that, because this stuff should last. The only thing that you might have the problem with is not really the HVAC, not really electric, is the plumbing. Because people going to flush wipes, people going to flush toys. But what we do is, and this is some game, we put a insurance on our property. It's called American Water Resource. Okay. This is some real game for y'all. American Water Resource is $10 a month. And I put it on auto pay, and it's a part of the rent. When they pay that, if the tenant messes something up, you call the insurance company, they send somebody out that day or the next day to fix the whole problem.
And that was American Water Resource?
American Water Resource. Even if it's something where they got clogged up to the street and they got to dig the street up, it's included in the package.
Yeah, and that
so that's a $10,000.
Like yeah, I was about to say like 8-10 bands.
I did 4 of them. They fixed it for free.
Dang.
On my $10 a month plan.
Yeah, they be sending me mail too. I got to tap.
And then they got another one. Another package is $20 a month. That cover your water, your sewer line, and electrical. So for whatever reason, the electric blowout, lightning struck the house, whatever light, it's included.
That's a good job.
I just paid do I need the electric? No, because we got all new electric. But I just added in, it's $20.
Yep.
Just added in. So if anything ever happened, I just call them and they come in.
Extra protection.
Yeah, they come and fix whatever.
And the setup is okay. But sometimes the center is with the wall and always the cable is this side. So you want it right here or?
Oh, okay, I got you. That's fine. Yeah. I just didn't want
always is in the corner.
Yeah, I just didn't want and if he can move it up a little bit, if the TV go here, I want it to like behind the TV so that we can hide all the wires. Yeah. So just move it up just a little bit.
Okay, so you want it here, this one?
No, if that's cool. If it makes more sense, then that's fine. Yeah. And then the same over there, just move it up a little higher.
A little bit higher?
Yeah, just a little bit higher.
Okay.
Cause the TV gonna go right here, so that way it's just a little higher, so they don't see no wires. But that's it. But it look good though. Shit, y'all might be done today. Y'all moving kind of fast. Y'all moving fast. Yeah, thank you.
So we just heard Boone talk about how he estimates all of his rehabs before he even starts to go get the materials. Pretty much we looking at about $80 per square feet. If you want to be more conservative, maybe about $90 per square feet. And we see the whole project here pretty much hit that same exact number. So when you think about it, that's why having additional resources like access to business funding and credit is super important, because if the budget goes over, you got a little bit more leverage and capital that you can access. But that's definitely a gem, y'all, that y'all need to keep in mind when it comes to, like, if you just overviewing a property, is just that square foot method. All right, bro, so we kind of just went over the square footage method, how you do your estimates, but tell me a little bit about, you know what I'm saying, when we start talking about like the capital, what's your rule of thumb as far as funding versus cash in real estate and obtaining pretty much like the capital to do these type of projects?
Yo, so the biggest thing is try not to use as much cash as possible unless you in a space where you just sitting on like millions. And the reason behind it is because you want to, I don't care how much money you have, depending on how many projects you do and how big the projects are, you want to cap out it eventually. So if you sitting on 100 grand cash, you like, yo, listen, I can knock the joint out myself, and you spend, let's say you spend 70. I still got 30,000. I don't mind eating oodles, I don't mind laying low. You know, people's favorite line, I don't mind laying low, I can chill, whatever. But if, let's say for example, your house don't sell as fast as you wanted to sell, it don't refinance as fast as you wanted to refinance. Now that 30,000 gotta last a little longer than you thought. Because some people might be like, I don't mind sitting on my last 10,000, 5,000, 20,000 because I know I'm gonna get this check back. I'm gonna get 100 grand in 60 days, 30 days. What happens if it takes 6 months? Now all of a sudden you like, whoa, wait a minute. So try not to use, and I've been in that position. So try not to use as much cash as possible. So I like to do it in a mixture of ways. Big funding, medium funding, small funding. Big funding is lenders, banks. So they might cover you, they give you the 80% of the project. They give you 90% of the project. And if you get really good, you have lenders that give you 100% of the project. And then medium funding is pretty much like private money, right? So for example, if a lender may give me 80% of a house, let's say I'm buying a house for 100 grand, they give me 80,000, right? And I gotta come up with the other 20%, the other 20,000. I may call some private money, you or somebody else, whatever. Yo, listen, do you wanna fund me 20,000? I give you back the 20,000 plus 10%, 15%, 20%, whatever that return may be. For them, their money's sitting in the bank not really making no percentage versus they might make 10 or 15 or 20% with you. And then you have small funding, which is credit cards, lines of credit. So for example, instead of calling somebody else, I may just go ahead and get a Chase and use $20,000 credit card to go ahead and cover that.
That makes sense.
Here's the pros and cons of everything. The big funding pro is you're getting a big amount, the 80,000, whatever in this example, to cover the majority of the project. And if you utilize hard money lenders, it doesn't hit your bank account. It doesn't hit your credit score. It's all in your business, so you don't have to worry about that. The con of that is the interest rate is higher. The fees are higher. So now you might get 80,000, but you might gotta pay $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 in fees. You see what I'm saying? So that's where it's like, it's a gift and a curse. The medium funding problem is, okay, you got somebody that's willing to lend you the money for 10 or 15% or 20%. You know, you don't gotta worry about nothing. They lend you the money, it's cool. The con is some people just don't like having another man or woman right over their back. So if you told them, yo, I'm gonna get this project done in 6 months, and it go past 6 months, that's a hard. For some people, it's like I may tell somebody that may not be lending, and I'm gonna say why. I may be talking to somebody that may not be used to lending money. So they lent me their last 20 grand or one of their last 20,000. Regardless, it affects them. Yo, bro, I thought this was gonna be done in 6 months. I need the 20 back. And that turns into a hard conversation, or it might affect the relationship. Not necessarily as your fault, but because they lended money that they didn't not need at all.
Facts.
You see what I mean? So that's one of the biggest things. If you ever pulling together investors or private money, always put together money from people that don't need it. Because the people that need it, they counting down on that 6 months or that 90 days, whatever time frame you told them. Sometimes they start asking for the money even before the time is up. But the pro is you got access to the capital, you had to run no credit for it, you had to do no stuff for that. Now the smaller amount is, the last type of funding is the credit card funding, which is good because it's coming straight from you. You don't have to ask nobody, you don't have to talk to nobody. It's strictly off your efforts. The con of that though is if you get money funding from your personal credit, that house ain't gonna be done in 30 days. You ain't gonna pay that car back in 30 days. So now your credit score utilization goes up. So now your credit getting a hit because you went ahead and utilized the credit card funding to pay for the down payment. So you might have to go 2 or 3 months with a credit score lower because you waiting for to pay back the car to bring your utilization down. And if you do it in your business credit, then you know that's good. But the problem is a lot of people don't have business credit at that amount. They might got a 10,000 piece, they might got a 5,000 piece. They may have a $20,000 piece, but that's might have all they got. So my biggest advice is if you have a $100,000 line of credit or $100,000 credit card at 0% interest, run that because it's free money for you.
0% interest.
If you don't have the 0% interest credit cards, compare does it make sense to bring in some private money and get them maybe 10% of whatever they lend you? Or does it make sense to use your credit card where you got this high interest rate and things like that? You want to cross-reference to see which one makes the most sense in reference to this specific project. If you got a $100,000 credit card, 0% interest, use that. But if you don't, what people don't account for is the fees.
Yep.
A hard money lender may charge you $4,000 or $5,000. Then the private money lender charge you $4,000 or $5,000. And then you might use some credit cards which charge you some interest, whatever. So then you might pay $10,000, $15,000 in fees. And if you don't run the project the right way, then $15,000 is just eating into your profit.
Yeah, that's adding up.
So
Facts.
that's the things I would say versus, and never use all your cash unless you just Jeff Bezos and you could do stuff like that. But other than that, because like I said, majority of people, you a financial advisor, how many people really got like 100 grand just sitting, 200 grand sitting, a million grand just sitting,
not liquid.
10 million sitting? I'm talking about cash.
Not liquid.
So majority of people on Instagram that's saying, yo, just do the whole thing cash. If I'm telling you I bought this house for $36,000 and I'm putting 70 into it, who got 100 that they can just throw and I get it back when I get it?
Facts. Yeah, not from where we from. Nah, that's a gem. That's a gem.
Like, let's be honest. Utilize the funding.
Other people's money at the cheapest rate.
Hell yeah.
Facts.
So that's my advice, though.
Appreciate you, Brody.
Oh, for sure.
Y'all heard it, bro. Y'all already know what we on. Leveraging other people's money, 0% interest business credit. But it's a little bit different when you're doing a whole project like this. Like Boone said, it's levels. Hard money, private money, bank money. You just really gotta figure out which way you want to get it. Every time I get around people like Boone, not only is it an inspiration, but I realize funding is just the first step. The real key is being able to multiply that capital into true cash flow. And as we saw today, real estate investing and flipping isn't just about buying the properties and construction. It's about systems, budgets, and patience. And the same discipline that we talk about is necessary in growing a business and obtaining business funding applies right here. And the biggest lesson is you can't be scared to learn hands-on. And most importantly, you gotta get around the people who are actually doing it. So if y'all want me to document more of my mentorship and real estate journey, just like this, getting that real behind the scenes and getting valuable gems from people like Boone, make sure y'all drop a comment below and let me know that y'all was feeling it. But besides that, y'all, I appreciate y'all tuning in. And until next time, let's get it, bag chasers.